You've done it. You've done your first 6 months of boxing. Now you're going to commit to the sport properly. Let's talk about all the gear you could possibly need and want. First things first, gloves. And you're probably thinking, well, yeah, I've just bought some. Yes, you probably have. What weight are they? What brand are they? What style of glove? What type of glove? Let's get into it. Now that you're 6 months in and you're enjoying your boxing training, you're going to commit for the long haul. These are the gloves I recommend. A pair of 10s for hitting the bag, hitting the pads. Why smaller gloves? So you can feel your punch connection and learn how to punch properly. Having smaller gloves will prevent your risk of injury massively because you're feeling where you're hitting and where you're going wrong. You will need to take your power off the bag a little bit and take more care and attention in your technique, which is a huge plus for you overall as a boxer, and then bring the power back in on the bag. So it might feel like it's slowing you down or not letting you whack the bag as hard as possible. But when you are whacking the bag as hard as possible, odds are you're making loads of mistakes. Small gloves are excellent. People nowadays, they're really big into bag mitts. Bag mitts were a huge thing back in the day. They disappeared. They're coming back. There are lots of people out there making bag mitts. They're even smaller than these. So these are 10 ounce. Bag mitts are essentially just a strip of padding and a little bit of leather. And they're really kind of unforgiving on your knuckles in a good way. Highly recommend small gloves for pads and bag, or bag mitts, okay? Get those. Companies you can buy that don't cost £500,000. These are brilliant, but they cost £500,000. If you want to kind of get some decent level gloves without breaking the bank, I'm talking £30-ish. Valor Strike RDX. Can't go wrong. They'll last you, say you're training 4 or 5 times a week, they'll last you a year, year and a half. For that price, brilliant. Well, surely that's all the gloves I need. Incorrect. Big Mama Jamma gloves. Woohoo. 16 ounces for sparring. Why do you wear 16 ounce gloves for sparring? To protect yourself and your sparring partner. If you injure your sparring partners, you have no one left to spar. Good luck getting better. 16 ounce gloves, protect your hands, also protect them from big cuts and bruises and injuries and all that. Not from concussion. Not from concussion. You still have to be careful about concussion injuries, but all your other superficial injuries, 16 ounce gloves. Again, you don't have to break the bank. These are they're great, fly, somewhat expensive, like £200, but they you don't have to spend this much money. You can go back to Valor Strike and RDX and get a great glove for all about £30. 16 ounces is what you're looking for. Now, my other ones were lace gloves. These are hook and loop or Velcro. Depends on what website you go on. I would always recommend Velcro. Okay, Velcro, take off and on really easily. For your water and all that stuff, if you're not skilled enough yet to drink with your gloves on, you believe me, you'll get there. And those of you that know, you can do anything with your boxing gloves on, including unscrew bottles of water and drink and put it down in about 30 seconds. So Velcro all the way until you get to the kind of point where you're doing sparring non-stop, not taking your gloves off, with like your fight camp training and all that kind of thing. Velcro is the way to go. What next? It's not something that every club does, but pads, okay? I will always do pads with my clients holding for each other in the gym. That is how I got this job. I learned how to coach, starting with holding pads for everybody, okay? A good pad holder, not just someone who holds pads and can do, I mean a good pad holder who can coach behind it. It's worth their weight in gold, and it starts with you holding pads. Hopefully your gym does that. Don't leave the gym if they don't. Some gyms don't like clients holding for each other. That's totally fine. But pads, I'd still recommend buying pads. You never know, right? When you want to coach your mate in your back garden and you've got nothing to hit. Pads. These are micro pads or speed mitts. I wouldn't recommend ones this size, but I'm showing you this brand because if you want cheap pads, these are the ones, £30, and they're excellent so far. But they are very small compared to your traditional pads. Then you've got your curved, more traditional, big old pads. These are easy to hit for everybody, and they've got lots of protection, so they're good for your wrist, forearms. Get these from anywhere. Now let's say you are holding pads, let's say you're holding pads and it's starting to make your forearms or wrists or elbows ache. These are the pads for you. Air pads, nice, chunky, fat. They take the sting out of the punch. Say you're a lighter person, you don't weigh much in the old kilo capacity, but and you're you're holding pads for some very heavy hitters or heavyweight boxers, this is essential. Until you get used to really holding pads, this takes a lot of whack out of people's punches. Every now and again, throughout my career, I've had like RSI in the elbow or slightly in the forearm. Get these out, easy. Goes within a week or two, because this takes a lot of the strain and strength out of my wrist holding for them. Air pads are excellent. Pretty much you get what you pay for, same with anything. If you're only going to hold pads every now and again, just go cheap. Go cheap. You don't have to break the bank. It's always better to have cheap gear, let it last for 6 months to a year and then buy it again, rather than getting super duper mega expensive pads like winning pads or anything like that and either losing them, God forbid, having them stolen, which happens, buying fake ones and paying a full price, which also happens, or going to a gym all gear no idea and being bullied for it. Next thing, essential piece of kit, wraps. Get yourself some wraps. These are excellent. You can buy, if you don't want to learn how to do wraps, you can buy, I call them fake wraps, but they're quick wraps, and they're like a glove that you put on, and they are average at best. In my opinion, there is no one-size-fits-all solution to anything in life. These, though, are excellent. It's not that hard to wrap your hands. You can learn it. I've got a video on this YouTube about hand wrapping. There are loads of people that will teach you how to wrap hands. It doesn't take long to learn. It's not that complicated. You can do it. I believe in you. But wraps, you hurt your wrist, wraps will help you out. You hurt your knuckles, wraps will help you out. You are fine punching, you never had an injury or anything, and you're wearing wraps and suddenly you tweak your wrist, which does happen. Next time you go to your training, you can wrap your wrist more and strengthen it there. Wraps are brilliant. That's the good thing about these. You can adjust the support where you need it. I don't recommend any brands particularly. That, again, they're all much of a muchness. Get a colour that you think's cool. I've got some fluorescent pink ones in here, which I do like. But I do recommend you get 4 meters or beyond, okay? 4.5 meters, so that you've got that extra material to wrap where you need it. 4 meters, brilliant. Again, the price, they're all pretty much the same price. Fancy colors or fancy patterns might be a bit more, but wraps are essential to your training. Oh, are you ready? We're getting serious now. Oh, the exciting stuff. Ooh. Now, we said you're committing to your boxing. All that stuff is for anybody who's committing to their boxing, okay? Let's talk about fight training. You're going to commit so much that you want to compete, or you like the idea of competing and you haven't gone through your fight camp yet, so you might get switched off. But yes, you're going to compete. This year I'm going to have a fight. What extra do I need? This is stuff for people in that category of gym goers. Not just your fitness and learning to box for the love of it. Totally fine. We love those people. They are just as important as your fighters. But these ones now are essentials for the fighters. If you're not going to compete, you don't necessarily need this stuff. Still recommend it. You never know when the itch might strike, but let's do it. First things first, a mouth guard. Now, mouth guards. You can go Shock Doctor, Opro, all those people, 10, 15 quid or whatever they are nowadays with the price of everything going up. They used to be about 5 quid back in the day. But they're brilliant. Most of my career, I've always used those kinds of mouth guards. Again, they last forever, pretty much. You can remold them if they go wrong or you get your tooth knocked out and you need to change how they feel. They're remoldable, they're cheap, they're easy, and they're good. They are good. You have to have a mouth guard. If your gym's letting you spar without a mouth guard, you need to question their health and safety policies. They should also have insurance, and your insurance is void if you're sparring without the right gear. So keep that in mind. However, recently, I've gone on to bigger and better things. Oh. Wow. So this, I've been boxing for a long, long time. I kind of warrant this purchase now. I'm not going to compete anymore, but it's just a nice to have. This is a dentist grade mouth guard, personalized and molded to my teeth. I even get a mold of my sexy, sexy teeth right here as like a little plus. These are from, again, all these brands I mention. I don't get paid or anything to mention them. I like them. They're brands that I use and brands that I recommend all the time. Elite Shields. Okay, they're a local company from around here. Guy who runs them's a very nice dude. They do a lot of professionals around the Midlands area, including Tyler Denny, Ben Whitaker, all those guys. And the gum shields are amazing, to be fair. I didn't kind of know what to expect with it, but it's comfortable, it's hard, it's a nice gum shield. Highly recommend. Eventually, you don't need this. This is a nice to have, not a need to have. But when you want to start splashing the cash, or you want your fight name, get yourself a personalised gum shield. One, you'll look cool in the gym. Two, they do feel great. So mouth guards, essential if you're going to spar and compete. Next, this weird face mask. This is not a face mask. This is a testicle protector, otherwise known as a cup. Okay, you have to. Okay, you cannot spar in gyms without them. You should have these. Now this is like a cheap and easy one. RDX just goes on. Put it over your shorts. Put it under your shorts. Who cares, right? This will do your white collar and unlicensed boxing shows. I'm pretty sure. You don't quote me. I'm pretty sure in the amateurs this wouldn't be allowed. Don't quote me on that. And in the pros this wouldn't be allowed. But as your entry level, just going to try out boxing, get sparring, and maybe do a competition of unlicensed white collar boxing. That's what we've got in the UK. One of these, you've only got to go in the ring and show the referee that you've got one on. You can go. These ones are great because they're comfy and they're not too big and bulky, but that makes them cheaper too. And you want to get a big full groin guard protector, go for it. They're great too. I just have this one because it's easy to go whoop and then take it off. Easy as that. But groin guards, you as a man don't even risk it. I mean, I do risk it, but don't be like me. Be better than me. People get their testicles punched inside them all the time. You might think I'm joking. I am not joking. People get their testicles punched inside them all the time. Don't take the risk. Head guards. I like thin, open face ones like this. I can see, I don't mind bruising, totally fine. This is actually a kickboxing head guard, and I think this is way better than any boxing head guard I've ever used. Don't be fooled with head guards. You get these big chunky ones for boxing, and they advertise like protecting your brain and all that. Head guards don't protect your brain at all. They do not protect you from concussion. I repeat, do not protect you from concussion. They do protect you from bruising and from cuts. So especially if you're competing and all that, essential. Some gyms will let you spar without head guards on. Again, you want to be asking about insurances and all that kind of thing. My insurance will not let people spar without a head guard on. Okay? No. Again, if you're at a gym and you're training where your safety, as in your safety, your personal safety isn't paramount, you want to think about if it's worth training in that gym. People get horrifically injured in boxing or worse all the time. Lots of people's careers end in the gym. But yeah, head guard. You shouldn't be allowed to spar without a head guard on. Okay? You can get these ones, you can get big fat chunky ones, you can get ones with bars across that protect your nose and all that. If you're going to go for a barred one, I'd recommend the hit and move one, where it's a big open face here with a small bar so you can see a lot. Trouble with barred ones is oftentimes you're looking through a letterbox, so it's really hard to stay defensive. But preference, try some out. Your gyms normally have some that you can borrow. Try different ones. If any of your training partners have got some on, ask if you can like train them or hit the bag in them or whatnot when you're not sparring, and see what you like. They're normally expensive, but they are an essential purchase. The final thing I'd recommend, and this really is for both categories, but essential for fighters, boxing boots. The difference a good boxing shoe makes is astounding. You would not believe it at all, okay? It took me a long time to kind of get on the hype of boxing shoes, and I was a lot of my time was spent in a kickboxing gym anyway, so it's barefoot on the mats. Made the purchase, my lord, incredible. It's almost like you're barefoot anyway, with rigid sole and great grip. Essential purchase. I can't put into words how good boxing boots are. Now these, if you're going to buy these nowadays, you're going to be spending a lot of money because they don't make them anymore. These are everyone's favourite boxing shoes. but unfortunately they are no longer made. Again, brands that are cheaper and still good, Adidas Box Hog. It's kind of like the entry-level Adidas boxing boot. They're true fit to size, really. I'm pretty sure I wear what size I am, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in the gym wears their correct size. I get a size 11 and they fit like a glove. They should feel tight. They should be tight around here, and they should be tight all the way up the ankle and give you loads of ankle support. To the point where to take them on and put them off, you have to undo the laces all the way down and really open up down here. That's how it should be. They do get more comfy as they go on, but they should feel super tight. Highly, highly recommend boxing boots. Again, boxing boots are essential for pros. You have to wear boxing shoes for your pros. You have to wear boxing shoes for your amateurs. As white collar, you don't have to, but the change from boxing in trainers, where you've got like a lip and a big sole and lots of grip, to boxing boots, you wouldn't believe. You stop catching on the mats, you can twist free and easy, but still it's night and day. I always recommend them. If you're going to compete and you want to do lots of sparring, get boxing boots. Yes, it's expensive. To buy all that gear straight away, you are looking at a few £100s. You can do it in drips and drabs. You know, you can say, right, I want to start sparring. I've got some 16-ounce gloves because that's what we train at this gym anyway, or wherever you are. So I just need a mouth guard and a groin guard. There you go. You're ready to go for sparring and all that stuff, if that's what you want to do. Again, those glove brands that I mentioned, they're about £30 a glove, so they are cheap. You could get your 10-ounce for your bags and your pads, and your 16-ounce for 60 quid. So, you know, that's not super duper expensive, very affordable. And everything else, you just bring it in on every paycheck. But that's the gear that I'd highly, highly recommend. Now that you're committing to the sport, you know you're going to be doing it for a long time. Everything that you buy is an investment. It will last, or at least last a good portion of your boxing training. That's all the gear that you need. Purchase it step by step. It's expensive to buy it all in one, but if you've got the means to do so, or buy it monthly and keep tacking it on. Those brands that I recommended are pretty cheap. My one pro tip about gear, especially your sparring gear, training it. Wear your mouth guard when you're in the bag, when you're doing your cardio. Wear your box. I used to wear my box and mouth guard all the time. If I can train in it all the time, I'll fight in it and it'll feel normal. Thank you all very much for watching. We are close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to push for 1,000 for Christmas, so thank you all very much. Share the love, enjoy the live streams, watch the videos. Thank you.